As you know, if you've been watching this show, I am Dee Collins, affectionately known to many as Pastor D, and I am the host of this show, Dunamis Woman and Ram Today. And I am just so excited about what you're going to view on this particular special edition because we are really talking about damaged places. It is in those places of the depths of your soul that you have been damaged that God has hidden treasure, hidden truth that will launch you right into your destiny. But there are some things that you got to do prior to getting to that promised land. And that is you got to see within your soul and you got to conquer some things. The greater one lives on the inside of you and the greater one lives on the inside of me. And even it tells us in Romans that we are more than conquerors in Christ Jesus. So I want you to sit back for these few minutes because I'm going to do a mini teaching, that's MINI, to help you understand about the strongholds that you have been assigned to take over, to possess that land according to Deuteronomy 7, because that is where your destiny lies. Everything that you need from God, the enemy is trying to possess it. And now you got to understand your greatness, particularly as a dunamis woman and the power that you possess. So this mini teaching is going to lead us into some empowerment clinics, empowerment workshops, conferences, because it's a movement. Dunamis Woman and Ram International Ministries is on a movement so we can understand the greatness, know those damaged places, take it back by force. The kingdom of heaven has suffered violence and the violent take it by force. So we will be at a city near you. In the meantime, get a pen, get a paper. Dee Collins will give you details about your damaged places. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Milan.
Yes,
we
dear.
are here. Dunamis Woman and Ram International Ministries. We are on a movement called Damaged Places. But you and I have something in common.
We do.
You and I may have had different walks of life. We're cut from the same cloth. But one of the things that I notice about us is the fact that we battle the same spirit called Girgashite. We know from Deuteronomy 7:1. Before the Israelites were to go into the promised land and receive their inheritance, they had to overcome a people, 7 nations that were stronger than them. Amorite, Jebusite, Hittite, Hivite, Perizzite, Canaanite, as well as Girgashite.
What's that?
What is a Girgashite, Milan? Tell me about it.
A Girgashite is a person who really overthinks everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. And it's not being detailed. It's really overthinking to the point where you will overthink yourself out of whatever it was. So it's a person who honestly lacks faith. A person who has to see everything in order to believe. You know, like Missouri, show me, you know, let me see before they act out on anything. And, you know, and a person who just, you know, like I said, overthinks. And, you know, will actually drive you crazy. It'll drive yourself crazy. I drive myself crazy all the time.
I do as well.
So.
Yeah, I'm always in my head, always just trying to think on my own how to get, and I've, through hurts and pains and just the different things that I've gone through, I've always been a self-sufficient. And as we become older, we're labeled as independent women. But that has led me to not being able to make decisions. It's led me to not have a level of relationship with God that I know that I am able and capable. It's also led me to miss out on a lot of opportunities because I don't allow spontaneity come in as it relates to doing certain things. You know, my life is very regimented, or has been very regimented. Now, when
habitual,
gotta have habits,
routine,
gotta have A, B, C. Now, somebody throw F in there, it's a problem.
Some F bombs gonna be
right.
Yeah.
So it just allowed me to miss opportunities. Now, you and I both, as I said, we have similarities. We've come from corporate America. Tell me about the mask. Tell me about how we, as Girgashites, utilize that, and we think we're the bomb. What is it? What's the lie about?
The lie. The lie really is about, well, first of all, let me just say, it's all about control. You know, anything that makes a Girgashite feel like they're not in control, it drives us nuts. And it puts us on a whole different plane. So the lie is that we think we're in control. We think we're in control with the analytical thinking, you know, the questioning, you know, and the rigidness that we go through. That's our way of keeping ourselves in control. But however, we're not in control. We're just living behind a mask that says we're in control, but we're really not in control. So basically, what it does is it hinders relationships. It really does.
It does.
And not just with God, which is people, because the last thing somebody, if I ask you a question like, well, what do you want to eat? And you got to, the menu at McDonald's ain't changed in 20 years.
In 25, yeah.
And then, forget it. So those type of things hinders your relationships, and it definitely hinders how you progress.
One of the things that I notice myself doing is isolating. I do a lot of isolating because of what you just said. If I'm not in control, then I retreat so that I could think in my mind that I'm regrouping, but all I'm doing is just going back and forth in my mind
about how the things could have been done, different scenarios, how it could have played out. And on top of that, you don't think you need nobody. I can do this myself. I've been doing it myself this long. What I need help for? What I need him for?
Right.
Or, even like, when you said in corporate America, I am so quick to say, I do it myself.
Exactly.
Because ain't nobody do it like me. I do it myself, and it'll get done. And then it won't get done.
Right.
Or it get 50% done. So it's a whole lot of barriers that go into being, having that stronghold of a Girgashite.
And you know what, and when you're talking to this, as we've been learning on the movement, Damaged Places, we've been learning about like selfish, self-centered, and self-absorbed.
We have.
And Girgashite's really, to an extent, all three. But when you talked about, I don't need anybody, and that was my life, corporate America, family, that's probably why I'm divorced now. I don't need anybody. So I was really self-centered, like, I don't need anybody. But really, I need people.
Right.
And Girgashites really we live in this silo where we don't think we need any other resources but the ones that we create in our own heads.
Absolutely.
As we're isolating by ourselves in a room.
Right. We have our own little army.
Yeah,
in
the
our
army
head.
of one.
Yes.
We're legion.
Yes.
And it's sad.
It is.
We're making light of it because of the healing process that we've gone through. We've identified some of our damaged places. So it's a place of openness and truth right now. And that's the reason we can smile and joke. But it wasn't always so. Because with me, there was a level of depression.
Absolutely.
A level of just being oppressed in my own mind. Girgashites tend to, because of our unbelief, we repress a lot of things. And I'm going to be honest with you. I had a horrible relationship with God because I blamed God whenever something did not go right. So it was not until recently, when the damaged places and me going through this journey, that I start realizing how God really is on my side. Girgashite is like, you either with me or you're not.
Yeah, it's no in between.
It's no in between.
None.
And God was not with me years ago, maybe 5 years ago. He was truly not someone that I went to because in my own mind, I did all this. I got my degree. I got this. I got that. I was
like that for a short period of time. But then in my head, I said, you know what? I'm going to get myself right with God. I'm going to go to church. And I'm going to surrender myself. All those terms we hear.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What happened?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Same here. Not a thing. It was because of the simple fact that I had it in my head how it was supposed to play out. I had it in my head when I went to the altar that the gates of heaven would open up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, all of my issues would go away, and they didn't. Actually, they kind of got worse, and that's when I started, when you talk about depression, that's when I started spiraling out of control with depression. But I didn't know I was depressed because it creeps up on you so fast, and I started isolating and, because I like to be by myself.
Right.
And then I always say, if it's meant for us to be by ourselves, then God would just created us, just one person.
You know what? And when you said that depression and things, that it reminds me now, we are supposed to overcome these 7 evils. But with the Girgashite, and if you stay in that place, then you invite in the Hittite spirit.
And Amorite as well.
And the Amorite spirit. You also invite in a parasite spirit, which is, a person with low vision because you can't see anything outside of your own mind.
Right.
So if you remain in that state of Girgashite, you have all of these other evil spirits that connect to that. If you remain in that damaged place.
And let's just think about before we got to, our place of healing and understanding what these were. And all of these things were coming at us. And for a short period of time, like, am I crazy? I experienced a lot of Amorite with men, but not necessarily.
These are dominant men?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily with women, but it is women too. And then, I had a limited vision because I just saw, because when you're a Girgashite, it's about what you want. So, in the control. So that causes, like you said, it causes you to be right there and never leave there. Because you want it to happen the way you want to happen, how you want to happen, when you want to happen. And that's just not how, life is. Nothing that you plan will ever go the way exactly like you planned it.
Right.
So those are some of the barriers I know both of us had to get out of, and it's a forever process, and we're still going through that process of conquering this Girgashite.
One of the things that I strive to do, and especially as we go through the movement of damaged places, is really get to the root cause of the issues. Now, I have a couple of things. Girgashites are analytical, lack of faith, different things of that nature. But what really caused that? Or is it a combination of everything? And
the root?
The root cause.
I could tell you.
You can?
I could tell you, girl. You know what I know it is?
What is it?
Fear.
Okay.
It's fear.
Fear of being found out?
Out of being found out. Fear of being out of control.
Okay.
Just fear of everything.
Well, let's talk about that fear.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Dunamis Woman and Real Awesome Men magazine is not just a publication that empowers you to break through barriers for great success, but we are a magazine that supports the mission of other organizations. So I am so happy for our fall 2014 issue, which is a special edition strictly for the Schaumburg Business Association. And we are coupling up with Alzheimer's Association to support their mission and their cause. Alzheimer's is something that affects many families all around the world, whether it's your mother, your grandfather, your grandmother, or your father. And it really is something that most people really hold dear to their heart. And so we want you to help us support Alzheimer's Association by going to our website and buying a single issue for a low cost of just $6.95. That's just $6.95 that you could help us give back to Alzheimer's Association. So visit www.dunamis-woman.com and get your copy today.
Milan, we were talking about fear as the root cause of our issues. One of the things that when we first became a part of Dunamis Women and Ram International Ministries, I remember us together. We were both connected through a person. We both came in through a program. We were in an intimate setting. I don't know how many of us it was maybe 12 or 13.
Right.
But we came in unknowing, like not knowing what was happening. And the premise was emotional healing.
Right.
And even that name as a Girgashite scared me. I'm like, then emotional healing, somebody's going to get deep into my business and different things of that nature. But the Devetta Collins, D. Collins, actually was very skillful in her approach, very personable, but also very transparent.
Absolutely.
And so the atmosphere was very relaxing to walk into, but it became challenging because I know I had to go to the deepest, dark depths of my soul, which wasn't a scary thing, but it was a necessary thing. But it was at my own pace.
See, when I first came, I came for emotional. Because I knew that I was, emotionally damaged. And then the thing is, I think why it clicked, God is so wonderful at doing this, is because at the church that I was a member of at the time, they were going over emotional damages, things that, get your emotions together, stop letting your emotions. I'm like, I'm a wreck. So when I heard emotional healing, I knew that I needed it. So I wasn't afraid of it. It's just what I found out after, that was under the surface. So it wasn't that it scared me. I believe wholeheartedly that a level of me, even though it was scary, even though it didn't feel good, a level wanted to be healed. And fear is the root. It's the root of everything for me, and for us, both of us. It's the root, and it's not of God. Number one. So if it's not of God, we definitely know where it comes from. So there are processes and understanding the root of where things come from. So I was scared of definitely being out of control because I was taught how to be. My mother taught me how to be in control because she's a control freak, you know, and she taught, you know, me and my sister that. But it makes you feel naked. Like I felt really, really naked. Like once everything was stripped, I was like, whoo, you know, I didn't know how to feel about that. You know, it was just like I couldn't, it wasn't that I could not be in control anymore. I was just open, naked, and ashamed. That's so, oh Lord. You know, I was out there in the wilderness, just open, naked, and ashamed. But it wasn't to expose me. It was to draw me closer to God. So, and I didn't see that at first. And so, you know, naturally, Girgashites are runners. We run. You know, if it's something that, you know, that makes us uncomfortable, we run. So I wanted to run, but I didn't. But that was the root. And it's still some residue that I'm dealing with that is... the root is fear.
You know, when you said Girgashites were running, one of the things that I remember as far as my first couple of days at Emotional Healing and with the ministry is, I did want to run, but there was something that was drawing me to remain, and that was the truth being spoken.
Yes.
The truth, because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I was in denial.
Right.
And like I said, it's not a badgering type environment. It's you are learning at your own pace. You're being met where you are, wherever you are in Christ, wherever you are in the Word, just wherever you are as a woman.
Absolutely.
I realized at that point I was maybe 7 years old, but at that time I think I was 39 when I first came. I'm 43 now. So I went from 7 years old to 12 years old emotionally.
Right.
That was huge for me because then that really let me know, okay, you do not have the control that you thought. But at the ministry, Dunamis Women and Ram International Ministry, it allowed me to, like I said, go at my own pace and grow at my own pace. It's not scripted. It wasn't anything, a box curriculum. You are actually going through a healing process.
You are.
And when you say naked and unashamed, you know, I was the type, I didn't even take the time to look at myself in the mirror. But it allowed me to slow down, for one. It gave me some dedicated time to myself to get to know the woman. And that's really what the premise of Damaged Places is, really getting to know yourself and your womanhood.
The woman that we ignore.
Yeah. And that this Girgashite and these other Amorites have either allowed you to put a mask on. And allowed you to just exist in that state.
Absolutely. And something else that as we're talking that I remember too is what kept me grounded was the transparency that Dee had, you know, and
Most
telling me everything she went through, and I'm looking at her like, what? You did what?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't see that too many places. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of this movement. I'm really honestly saying, I mean, you don't get that, you know, with people just, you know, transparent. And that kind of helped with the process of me learning how to trust.
Right.
And it was a price, you know, it's a process with Girgashites because, you know, we got trust issues too, you know, so just talking to her, it opened me up, you know, because I know truth. We know truth when we hear it, and I know truth when I hear it. And just talking to her, and just letting her minister to me, which I've never let anybody do because you know the churches I belonged to before it was like, oh, okay, thanks, bye, you know, ran out the door. But she really took the time, and where they do that at, you know. So she took the time, and so that made me say, okay, this is probably where I need to be grounded at, so I could get what I need, and so I can understand what all these ites are, that you know, Girgashite, Amorite, and all of that.
And you know, one of the things that I realized just talking to you, and it's about relationships. The whole ministry, Dunamis Women and Ram International Ministry, even this movement, Damaged Places, you cannot be into yourself and think that you're going to uncover any damaged place. You can't be on a movement. A movement is not one. A movement is people.
It's people.
And so 4 years ago, I learned how to relate to other people. You know, there's 3 stages we talked about, or 4. You go from read then to relationships. Many of us start at relationships, and this ministry has allowed us to step back and just really build relationships. I remember the first time just seeing you, I'm like, oh, she's so dang on busy. She always moving around. Da, 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 da.
I'm still
But that was
like
me.
that.
I was looking at you and didn't even see the plank in my own eye. But we were one and the same. But since then, we have grown through just the relationships and the teachings.
Right.
We have grown closer together, not because of the cause.
It has to be a purpose.
It has to be a cause. Now, you and I may not go out shoe shopping or anything of that nature, but we've learned through the ministry that there is a cause and there's a connection for us being together. And I think our relationship has blossomed, and we've helped one another out. We're now accountability partners, but we've helped one another out through over the years because we've implemented those things that we've been taught.
Absolutely.
We've tapped into the woman. We have been working on vision and different things of that nature, not just for the ministry, but just overall.
Well, it's all one.
It's all
you know,
one.
so we complement each other.
Exactly.
So your vision and my vision, and you know, and the movement we're on, all of that is the same. You know, we've been through different things, and we have different gifts and different callings, but it's the same. It's one thing.
Right.
And so, in order for us to even go in that direction, we got to understand
One another.
one another.
I got a funny story. I don't know if you remember. We were in Florida. And I remember you and I, and this is a Girgashite. Girgashite does not have a good relationship with the Holy Spirit. And go, you know, just that lack of faith. And so you and I went to a conference together. And this is the first time I think you and I kind of connected and bonded because we were both trying to speak in tongues. I don't know if you remember that. So we went to a training.
I do remember that.
Like, okay, teach me how to speak in tongues. Go. And the lady was just like, really? But that was at Girgashite.
Right, because it's not a formula to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, what's ABC? Come on, I did that. I clapped. Come on, speak in tongues. And I just remember where we were then. I think that was 3 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe.
2 or 3 years ago.
And then where we are now. Being on the prayer line, the ministry, you know, has different things that'll keep us active, keep us in the teachings to apply it. And so just being together, even this morning, praying together. Which before, you and I were both looking at people like, yeah,
I don't know you.
I don't think I know you that well, you know.
Why you
But
want to know
seeing
my
that
thoughts?
growth,
Yeah.
right? And being able to find someone to trust.
And that's
And
the
so
thing.
that has kind of dissipated that evil spirit. You know, we're not perfect. It's
Finding out a long
always
shot.
going to be a struggle in something. But we've gotten a lot better.
Yeah, life is a forever learning process.
It is.
It's
It
a school.
is.
It's a school. So we got to get educated.
Exactly. And when you say that, education through this ministry is not talking at us.
Nah.
It is about education. The meaning of education is to draw out. So the only way that we've grown and learned, and the only way that, you know, the movement continues to go forward is that she draws out.
Absolutely.
And one of the good things about that is she's drawn out so much, and this ministry has drawn out so much that now we're able to be in a position to educate where we're drawn out from other people.
Absolutely.
So we have been in contact and encountered many Girgashites
Yeah.
and have been able to express ourselves. So we've been given a platform.
Yes, we
we've
have.
been given guidance. We've been
Yes.
getting, I don't know if mentored is the right word, but we've been
Yeah, I
getting that
think
spiritual
mentor.
guidance, that mentorship, spiritual mothering that is so necessary for
It
so
is
many
so
women.
absolutely necessary.
And Damaged Places, the movement is, it's necessary.
It is very necessary.
Really for the safety and salvation and the saving of our communities.
Yeah. 'Cause we came with damaged places.
Yeah.
So I got damaged places. You got damaged places.
I feel like singing a song to you.
Girl, what song you want to
No, I
sing?
don't wanna do that. But anyway, I mean, just to laugh and to joke about it, to be honest,
Yes.
is because of the teachings and the growth.
It is. And I'm so grateful.
Wow.
I'm so grateful that God ordered my steps in this direction so we can meet.
Thank you. All right, honey bun.
Yes, it's been one.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Dunamis Woman and Ram today. I am Michelle Obasi. I just want to tell you a little bit about me. 4 years ago, I came to emotional healing, and I became a product of the emotional management coaching of Dee Collins. My first visit, I was very broken. I had recently been divorced, but just in a situation that was not healthy for myself and my child. Through the years, I became homeless at one point. I had become very depressed. I had some really serious issues, ranging from thoughts of suicide, ranging from just pride and emotions and withdrawing from those around me. But within that 4 years, I thank God for that journey, and I thank God for being a part of Dunamis Woman and Ram International Ministries up under the spiritual leadership of Dee Collins. Because in that, she herself had a program for entrepreneurs. I didn't know I was an entrepreneur 4 years ago. So she put me in her transitional home. From that, I was able to not only start my business, I also was able to get a home for not only my daughter, but myself. Emotionally, my mind, my emotions, they're all lining up to the will of God for my life. And I'm excited. Not only excited, but I'm living. 4 years ago, I was just existing. I admonish each and every one of you to become a kingdom partner with Dunamis Woman and Ram International Ministries. This ministry is an active ministry. She just doesn't preach and teach, but she actually has programs. She has just workshops. She has coaching that brings you back to life, heals the broken places, heals the damaged places in your life. And so again, I admonish you, $30, and this is a coaching session that I went to, 30-minute power session. Also, you will get a copy of How to Pray on Purpose with Power, Dee Collins's book. I read the book. I live by the book. I actually carry the book around with me. It's not the book, but it's actually the truth that's being spread throughout it. It's the truth that comes out during those power sessions. It's the truth of the entire program and the ministry. The ministry is kingdom. The ministry is about truth, but it's also about healing for the soul. So again, I am Michelle Obasi, and I am admonishing you. This is a $110 value, $30 kingdom partner under Dunamis Woman and Ram International Ministries. I thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you.